For this lesson, we are going to look at combining like terms as a way to simplify expressions. Remember, an expression is a set of terms that there's no equal sign, no inequality sign. When we're looking at like terms have the same variable. So they're all x's, or they're all y's, or they're all a's, or they're all b's. But it also has to have the same exponent. So some examples of like terms: x, 3x, negative 7x, those are all like terms. Some more like terms are numbers like 2, 3, negative 5, those are like terms. Some more like terms would be 3x squared, 2x squared, negative 4x squared, those are all like terms. But I would not be able to combine these. So if I have this 3x is not a like term with the 2, and it's not a like term with the 3x squared. Even the 3x and the 3x squared, they're close. They both have an x, but they have different exponents. 3x squared has an exponent of 2, and 3x has an exponent of 1, technically. So they would not be considered like terms, so they could not be added. If they are like terms, then they can be added. If we start looking at number 1, simplifying the expression, the like terms I see are 8x and a positive 3x. Also, whatever sign is in front of the number is attached to the number. So this minus sign is attached to the 9. The plus sign is attached to the 3. So we'll think of those as a negative 9 and a positive 3. And because those are like terms, they can be added. So I have a positive 8 and a positive 3 makes positive 11x. And then the 9 doesn't have a like terms, which just stays the same. It stays negative 9. For number 2, I have two sets of like terms. I see a negative 2a and a positive 5a. So you got to remember our integer rules. Negative 2 and positive 5 makes positive 3a. Then I also have a positive 17 and a negative 1. And when I put positive 17 with a negative 1, that makes a positive 16. So that would simplify to 3a plus 16. Number 3, I have a 7m and a positive 6m makes 13m. I also have a negative 7 and a negative 6, and that makes negative 13. Notice that none of these are being solved. We can't actually solve because no equal sign, that's why it says simplify. Our next one, I have an x, but there's no other x. I have an r, but there's no other r. I do have two plain numbers, a negative 10 and a positive 8. So those are the only ones that actually can be added together, are these two here. So that negative 15x won't change. The negative 22r won't change. But the negative 10 and the positive 8, those can be added together because they are like terms. And negative 10 and positive 8 makes negative 2 with our integer rules. Number 5, we have a 5x and a negative 3x. That makes 2x. Then we've got a negative 4 and a positive 9, and that makes a positive 5. Number 6, we've got a negative 5x and a positive 7x. That makes a positive 2x, watching your integer rules. We also have a 6 and a negative 9. Again, watch those integer rules. 6 and negative 9 make negative 3. Then we get into some of the longer ones for number 7. I'm just going to go through one variable at a time. I have an 8x. I also have a minus x, but that x doesn't have a number in front. That's called a coefficient. We can always put a 1 if we don't see a number. So this is really 8x and negative 1x. And 8x and negative 1x make 7x. We also have a positive 4y and a positive 7y. And that makes a positive 11y. I have one more. I've got this negative 7. It does not have a like term, so it's going to stay the same, negative 7. So that one simplifies to 7x plus 11y minus 7. If you have these in a different order, maybe you had 11y minus 7 plus 7x, that's okay too. It's not standard form. Standard form would be alphabetical with the constants or plain numbers at the end. But it's still equivalent. We still have 11y and 7x are positive, then 7 is negative. As long as we keep the right numbers positive and negative, it's equivalent. Number 8. Again, we've got some numbers with no coefficients, so it's really 1y here and 1y here. And those are like terms. So the 1y and the 1y makes 2y. And then we have positive 5, negative 8, and a positive 14. We've got to put all three of those together. So let's just do 2 at a time. Positive 5 and negative 8, that is negative 3. So now I use those two. Now I'm going to put that negative 3 together with this positive 14, and that's going to be positive 11. Then we start getting into the ones that have both x and x squared. And remember, those are not like terms because they have different exponents. So we have 3x squared and 2x squared makes 5x squared. Then we have a plain 5x. It does not have a like term, so it's going to stay plus 5x. And then I also have a negative 2 and a positive 5. Those are like terms. They can be added. Watch your integer rules. Negative 2 plus 5 is a positive 3. And for our last one, got a negative 5 squared and a positive 3 squared. Add those with integer rules, going to be a negative 2x squared. And then that last term, that positive 7x, doesn't have a like term, so it's just going to stay the same as positive 7x. Notice that if a term was positive, I'd connect with a plus sign. And if a term was negative, I would connect it with the minus sign.